So every single person that comes to me with some kind of pain, injury, whatever it is, they can't play their sport, there's a 3-step process that happens. So the 3R system: rejuvenate, rebuild, return to sport. Whichever stage we're stuck in, it's usually because we haven't done the previous stage good enough, right? So if we're stuck on the return to sport, like we can't get back out onto the pitch, we keep re-injuring ourselves, it means we haven't done the rebuild well enough. And if we haven't done the rebuild well enough, if our knee can't get to the point where we need it to get to in terms of the strength, in terms of the mobility, that means that we haven't rejuvenated enough, right? So today I'm going to walk you through the first step of the system, the rejuvenate. The next 2 videos you'll see is going to be the rebuild and then the return to sport. So within this week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're going to have our entire 3-step system laid out in 10-15 minute videos. Right, so rejuvenate stage. This is early when we want to start getting some work, right? The goal of the rejuvenate stage is to kind of make the knee feel like it's normal again. Some people that come to us have been dealing with knee issues for like 5-10 years, and it hasn't felt good for that long. They might have inflammation, they might have different kind of stuff, and what they've been doing with the icing and all that kind of stuff hasn't been working. So the goal to start with is to increase blood flow and to reduce inflammation, right? That's the goal of the rejuvenate stage. And then I'll run through both the blood flow and the inflammation and how we do both of those. So the increase of blood flow is so good because if we want healthy tissues, we need healthy blood to be circulated to the area constantly, right? So the nutrients that we need to get to the knee actually comes from inside the blood. Also the synovial fluid, but the blood is massive, right? So there's like a Bible quote which Kenny said the other day, which was like, life is in the blood or whatever. I can't remember the actual quote, but it's pretty cool. So first is blood flow. And how do we do that? We do that in 4 different ways. So, well, technically 3, but one's a regression progression. First is going to be banded knee extensions and flexions, right? So the knee does 2 things. It extends and it also flexes. Obviously there's other stuff that it does, but those are the main 2 things. It extends and it flexes, right? So we want to be able to find an area where we can do that without causing any pain. So we want to actually get the knee moving, get blood flow there, because blood flow goes to the area when you use it, right? So banded knee extensions are going to be the first one. Super short movement, but that's going to be for the front of the knee. It's going to be getting loads and loads and loads of blood flow into the quads. And then banded flexions for the hamstrings and the back of the knee, right? And if we do those, we get loads of blood into our quads, into our hamstrings, then that blood will go into the knee as well. The synovial fluid will get moving around because we're actually using the knee, right? If we don't use the knee, it's going to stay stiff because our body tells us, oh, we don't need it. So it doesn't send any nutrients there, it doesn't send any blood, it doesn't send anything. So banded knee extensions and banded flexions are the first thing that we do with people, and you can do these loads. Like Louis Simmons, one of the best powerlifters of all time, powerlifting coaches, to keep tendons healthy and to keep like the connective tissue healthy within his training cycles, he would do sessions where he does like 700 banded hamstring curls and banded knee extensions. So we can do these like 2-3 times a day, depending on what you've done the day before, depending on how it affects your tissues. But when I first done my quad tendon, I was doing banded knee extensions 3 times a day, putting heat packs on them, getting so much heat to the area and getting so much blood flow, so the nutrients were there, and it really helped. The second thing is the progression from backwards walking to backwards sled. It's a similar thing with the banded knee extension, because when you extend the knee, that's the concentric. When you then lower the knee, that's then the eccentric. Right, so on banded knee extensions, the band pulls you through the eccentric, so you're kind of bypassing it. And then on backwards sled, you again bypass the eccentric because you pull your hamstring through it. Right, so then you're just doing the concentric. So even if you backwards walk for 5-10 minutes around the house, I promise you, you'll probably start getting a quad pump already, because you're doing hundreds of these knee extensions, these really short range knee extensions over and over, and that's going to get loads of blood flow there. So that's going to be the second thing. And then if you can progress onto sled, you can start increasing the weight, start increasing the speed. You can get more and more blood flow, and it's just so good for the knees, right? So that's the second thing. Backwards walking, backwards sledding. You can go backwards walk, you can then go incline on a backwards heel, you can go backwards treadmill turned off for the resistance of the tread. You can then go backwards sled. So that's the 4 progressions there, but again, so hundreds of reps, and it's so good for the connective tissue. It needs a lot of blood in there because it has less blood supply than the muscles do. Each layer down you go, the less blood supply. So you need to do more reps to actually get that work there. So that's the second thing. Third thing is then flossing the knee. I don't actually have my floss bands on, but they're massive, right? I think you can buy them for like 20 quid off Amazon. If anyone has like some kind of knee, anything going on with their knee, I'd recommend to buy it straight away. Like super good Really good investment. I still use it to warm up my knees and stuff before games. I don't necessarily need it, but it's just really good. It feels nice. What you do is you wrap the bands around your knee where it cuts off some blood circulation. You then use the knee in whatever manner that be, whether that be backwards walking, whether that be squats, whether that be half range of motion squats, whatever it is, where it doesn't cause pain. And you take off the band, it then floods loads of blood there, floods loads of nutrients to the knee. So it's the same thing. We're increasing the blood flow, we're increasing the blood flow, we're increasing the blood flow. So that's the three things we use there. It's band and knee extensions and flexions, backwards walking and sleds, and then flossing. So there'll be videos of these all on the videos I've been going through this. Second thing then is to decrease inflammation. And like I said, the goal to have healthy tissues is going to come from pumping healthy blood there, right? But if your blood's not healthy, you're not going to get as much nutrients, right? So you can still do it, you can still flood all the blood, then it's going to be good. But if your blood doesn't have those nutrients in, the good stuff that you're eating, it's going to be less beneficial. It's still going to be beneficial, but it's going to be less beneficial. So lowering inflammation does come from the stuff we're doing here with the blood flow, but it also comes from our nutrition and supplements, right? And the first thing I'll get people to do is like decrease processed foods if they are eating any. So we'll start to go on like a whole food diet, start to eat more red meats, we'll start to eat more chicken, we'll start to eat less like sweets, cereals, all that kind of stuff with processed sugar in. So that's going to be the first thing, really looking at our nutrition, eating a whole food diet, eating lots of fruits and vegetables, eating lots of meat, high protein. That's going to be good stuff. Then the supplements. The number one supplement I would say is some kind of fish oil, right? Some omega-3 fish oils, but we use a company called Zenzino just because it's the best. Like it shows that it has polyphenols in, like you can literally test yourself to see what difference your omega-3 to 6 ratio is over time, and you can see, okay, that's going to link then to the cell membrane health inside the nutrients to see how much inside the cells, sorry, to see how much nutrients we're actually taking into the cells. So super good. You can literally see your test scores from like the first month you start to the 4th month, and see your progress there. So that's going to be the number one thing, and I'll link that down in the description, their products and stuff. So if any of you want to buy the fish oils to try and start doing that, cool, be my guest. They're really good. I still use them. So omega-3 fish oils, I would also start saying that the tissue that we want to be made healthy, like an old saying, is that we eat more of that stuff, right? So if we want our bones to be healthier, we'll start eating some bone broth, right? If we want our cartilage to be healthier, start getting that bone broth. Wow, it's going to have all that cartilage, all that good stuff in. If we want our tendons, our ligaments, our stuff like that to be healthy, start eating like mincemeat, that kind of stuff, to get those stuff in our digestive system. Like for people that used to want to have their heart healthier, they would eat heart. People that wanted to have their brain healthier, they'd eat brain. All that kind of stuff in different cultures around the world. So whole food diet, supplements, I would say vitamin D3 is super important. Creatine is going to be super good to decrease inflammation during the workouts as well, because obviously inflammation is going to be able to stop you accessing a certain area. So a little good hack that you can use to start actually being able to do a little bit more in a session is fasting in the morning before your session. Do the session in the morning, fast, because you're going to have less inflammation before you eat anything inside your body. And if you do eat, try and eat high protein, high fats in the morning. Charles Poliquin talks about how acetylcholine, all that kind of stuff gets spiked, and then it's going to lead to sustained dopamine throughout the day, so you're going to feel a lot better and more sustained. Phone fell down, but that's the end of the Rejuvenate section. So I hope that helps. Increased blood flow, decreased inflammation. Then when we go into rebuild section, your knee is going to feel much healthier. So you're going to have less pain when rebuilding your joint dominance, when rebuilding all of this stuff. And you can even think about this in stages in the session as well, of like, if you get loads of blood flow in the knee at the start of the session, when you then go to rebuild through the squats and stuff later in the session, it's going to feel so much better. Hope that helps. Stay tuned for rebuild section and then the Rejuvenate section. We've done a full workshop on these back in November, where we have like a 50-minute long thing of us going through these sections. So if you want to just like skip waiting and like see that, you can go watch that as well. But I'd get these concepts in your head constantly, right? The subconscious mind is where we act from. Like 97% of our actions during the day are from our subconscious, right? You don't think about riding a bike, you just ride the bike. You don't think about driving the car, you just drive your car. So to get information into your subconscious mind, you need repetition, you need imagery, and you need emotion. So you need to constantly get this information in your mind, get it 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 in your mind, until you actually not just intellectually understand the concepts, but really subconsciously understand the concepts. And that comes with them using these concepts, seeing how they go, listen to it again, seeing how that affected it, really thinking about it. Watch as many workshops as you can, watch our stuff as many times as you can if you are going through this stuff. I've watched thousands of Ben Patrick videos, hundreds, if not thousands, of Ben Patrick videos, and look where my knee is, right? I wanted healthy knees. And I was just listening to them over and over and over and over, and now I have healthy knees, right? So I want to be able to do the same thing for you guys. Hope it helps. See you in Rebuild.